Hello, friends. Host Eric here. Host Talking with Fast People. And I'm here with Spacey. He's being pretty important right now. Doing some pretty important things.
No.
He's modest like that. He never wants to be boastful or talk about his accomplishments. But let me tell you, he's doing some seriously important things right now. Okay, so tonight's topic is getting hit right in the PoLR. What does that mean? Well, what that means is some things in life hit you right in the PoLR. Like this identity theft hit my dad right in the PoLR. And why has it hit him in the PoLR? Because he's PoLR and I. And identity theft is something that you can't exactly solve or attain. You've got to prevent it, take measures to stop it, and you've got to be aware of and read signals coming in correctly. Is this an actual is this a matter that's concerning, or is this one not concerning? Well, my dad can't really distinguish between those things. He doesn't have the tech knowledge, and more importantly, he's anti-PoLR. But I see the anti-PoLR playing out in a number of different ways. One example is a tendency towards crazy conclusions that make no sense at all. For example, last night, he called me to tell me that when he got back from his walk, his pillowcase was missing. And that he thought that somebody had snuck into his house while he was out on his walk and taken a pillowcase just to show him they could do it, just to show him. I said, you know, obviously, Dad, that's crazy. That's insane. So today we looked at the ring from yesterday. He's not very good with the tech end of things. So we looked at the ring, and I showed him that, you know, he had left on his walk. He'd come back, whatever, 15, 20 minutes later, and no activity in between. He also has this really convoluted theory that makes no sense at all about the neighbor kid who is now like recently graduated college, and that somehow he's behind it all. And part of the reason why he believes this is because there was an occasion not that long back when he got these notifications from the Bay Area saying you didn't pay a toll on a bridge, and they sent a picture of the license plate, and the picture they sent him was in fact of his license plate. It was in fact the license plate holder that goes around it, but he had not been in the Bay Area nor had the car, so he wasn't sure how that even possibly could have happened. I don't know how it could have happened either. He had not been in the Bay Area. The car had not been stolen or missing at any point or taken by anybody at any point. So there's just no way that could have happened. But nevertheless, the Bay Area bridge, you know, which is like 8 hours from here or something, it had an actual picture of his license plate and license plate frame. Now, here's the thing. Here's the big crazy link, though, is the only person he knew at the time in the Bay Area was the neighbor kid who was up there for college. So he's concluded that the neighbor kid must have had something to do with it. That's anti-PoLR. So I want to talk a little bit more about the PoLRs of the world, how and why they are. What this live chat here? I'm on Kimberly's laptop, which is like it's just kind of a nightmare, but it's barely adequate to work. I thought so. So I'm trying to change it to all chat instead of just top chat. Live chat. There we go. So now I will close this again. very slowly. I need to get a new laptop. It's incredibly frustrating. I remember a couple instances when
you want me to shop for another one, or do you want to?
I don't know. It says the connection's unstable now. Okay, well, I'm having some tech issues here. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not. Oh, it looks like it's fixed itself, whatever the problem was. Okay, so if it's a little choppy, sorry about that. Regardless, how is everyone? Well, pretty good, I'd say. Facey, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Facey's pretty good. You can hear me? Can you see me? Or maybe you're not looking at a computer. Maybe you're listening on your phone. You want to build a new PC eventually? Yeah. Well,
yeah, so do I, but
I gotta
I'm
figure
probably
out.
gonna just give up and get a laptop next time. I don't feel like dealing with this.
I remember a couple times in my life when I felt like I was hit in my FI PoLR. One, in my divorce from my second wife, where, as I mentioned before, she insisted that we go through this period of deciding how we felt about it. And that was just ridiculous. It seemed, at the time it was before I knew anything about cognitive functions, and it just seemed like a joke. Like, what do you mean even? You need to tell me, like, which direction we're running this boat in, and then that's how I will feel. So that was an instance where I was kept in that spot where I had to utilize my FI for an extended period of time, was asked to, and was unable to really do it, and didn't get the. It's like my basic position was, well, we should stay together because there's not any particularly good reason to split up. And her position was, we need to decide if we want to be together or not. That seemed odd to me. But that's being hit in your FI PoLR. And I'll tell you, it's quite uncomfortable. And it's a little bit like baffling. My dad said on a couple of occasions now in this regard to this identity theft thing that he's somewhat like feeling less competent than normal, like that. I'm not on my A game right now, son. This has been really hard, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So the thing is, I think that mostly has to do with the fact this is asking him to use a lot of NI. It's asking him to distinguish which things are important from a field of data that has lots of things that may or may not be important. What's it like being hit in your any PoLR right now? I don't have any PoLR. As often as it happens, I'm on a 5. As often seems to happen, I'm on a 5 minutes away. Of what PoLR is this typical?
Wham. Right me any PoLR. What are they talking about here?
We're talking about things that hit.
Like, well, what was the question? This often seems to happen on a 5-minute delay. Of what PoLR is this typical? I mean, that's typical of me. Although it's probably more than 5 minutes for me.
Reader dentist, your joke made me smile. But yeah, the beginning thing I'd like to focus on is the NI PoLR thing, because really it's been instructive to see my dad struggle with this and to get a better sense of exactly what NI is in that regard, and to see my own ignoring happening sometimes as well. He's he's left in a situation where he's successfully transitioned into the other side of this thing. He's not actually under any sort of threat of identity theft at this point. I don't believe anymore. We've got it all the fires put out. They didn't get into any of his accounts. They didn't drain his savings. Like shit, the horror stories you hear, you know. So we're good. There were a couple of days where the guy was battling us actively back and forth, trying to, and he'd seize control and we'd seize control and stuff. What the fuck? What's up with that connection?
I think you're still connected.
Oh, am I still connected?
I think it's just a little choppy. But
okay. So the thing is, you don't see NI PoLR play out a lot. I've seen my dad display it in the past with things like making a decision and then next week changing his mind and, you know, sort of not having a clear sense of what the determinant factor in something is. For example, taking a settlement in a case, I remember when I was younger, even though I was a teenager, I still was like, what are you thinking? He took a settlement in a case where he owned this property and these people were trying to squat on it and trying to say that well, I mean, basically they had been the tenants of my dead grandfather, and they said my dead grandfather had promised them that they could have this house when he died or something, and that was their case, right? But that wasn't in any will or anything like that, so, you know, whatever. The point is, my dad thought, well, you never really know with a jury if they're sympathetic in a civil case, blah, 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 blah. My take was, they don't have a fucking leg to stand on. They've got no good arguments, right? Now, the fact is, based on the circumstances of that case, I'm quite certain that we should have just taken it all the way to the end of the trial and let what happened may, you know? But instead, we settled. Because the reason they were pushing so hard for a settlement is because they knew they were going to win this case. It seems it takes people some time to register. I'm saying it was often too late. Well, it takes time to register what people are saying in general. Sometimes Spacey says something to me in a live stream or says something in a live stream, and then I'll not respond to it, and then I'll just go on to the next thing. And sometimes it's because I didn't really hear him, and sometimes it's because I don't want to respond to it or something, you know. But it's because I got a lot of streams of data thrown at me concurrently. I've got all these people writing these things. So, RU Mafia, what's this stream about? This stream's about getting hit in your PoLR, which is your blind spot. There are certain blind spots. Everybody has a blind spot, and it can be particularly difficult if you get hit with a problem or something that links directly to that. I've watched a few more INTJ, INFJ comparison videos, and I think I'm INFJ, even though I was just INTJ. The typology videos weren't when I decided I watched the channel more than after and had. Okay, you're not an INTJ, you're an INFJ. That chat right there is very FE aware. Any PoLR, says Sarah Kielian, is not the worst. It's more when they ask me to brainstorm at work or I can be gullible. Peter Dennis, a closing of another issue and came to the fact that I'm schizoid. How old are you, Peter Dennis? I have a low association of my feeling functions. Can your first or second slot functions ever feel too exhausting to use, or do only lower PoLR functions cause people difficulty? Your tool function can feel too exhausting to use, but it's at the high end of things. So there are certain kinds of problems or TI kind of process that I have to work out in my head that I go, that's fucking seems going to be a pain in the ass. There's a lot of thinking, you know? And in that instance, it doesn't exactly seem too exhausting. It's just like daunting, the scope of the task, really. Like if I have to parse out all of the like gameplay for the function rummy card game into conditional logic, That's a TI task. I could do it, but it would be fucking daunting. I wouldn't want it. I know I could do it, and I also know that it would take a long time. It would be a pain in the ass, and it wouldn't be fun. You know, just using a tool function for too long is not fun. So in that regard, I don't think it's exhausting, but it's gonna be not fun. Let's see. SE PoLR is the worst. SI PoLR is the best. Ooh, I mean, I think that's the key thing to take away here. I was thinking today about Trump. Trump's using NI all the time. All the fucking time. Constantly. He's using shitty 4-slot NI. He's going, I think what's obvious here today is this is the greatest witch hunt in the history of America.
Yeah.
The single one. Number one. Only one truth here. And it's huge. It's big. Oh my God, it's big. It's important. It's the determinant thing.
It is funny. Yeah. It's huge. Right? Everything's big. We're gonna win bigly.
We're gonna do this thing better than it's ever done been number 4, bigger than it's ever done been number 4. And it's gonna be, everybody's gonna be blown away. The mind's just gonna be like, wow!
We're gonna be winning. We're gonna be winning so much. We're gonna be tired of winning. Right?
Where tool functions are daunting, they're not. Tasks can be daunting. Michael Thompson. So if you have a tool function, if you're asked to do a task that requires too much of your tool function at great length without really a lot of your dominant function in the mix, for example, the example I gave of converting my function rummy game that I'm up, which was a nice mix of NE and TI into actual conditional logic so they can be programmed or something, I could do it, but that task would seem like drudgery. I wouldn't want to do it. Sorority Chandran has realized she's mistyped. She's actually ESTP. Wow, you sure do spend a lot of time on the internet. If one were unable to use their tool function successfully in service of their dominant function for an extended period of time, which function would said person end up using as a hammer instead? Oh, well, you go down to your third. And you know, you can see that with my dad. It's exactly what my dad is doing. He's but unable to use TESI on this. His SI says is just this triggery thing. It says every time he hears a ding on his phone, somebody's taken over, hijacks his accounts again. That's not useful. He's got no experience prior to this in dealing with this sort of thing. And he doesn't really have enough experience with tech learning to be good at tech at all, or to even understand the difference between things like, I had to ask him multiple times and try to figure out this morning what he meant when he told me he got a message from Google on his phone. Now, what he meant was, I was trying to say, did you get a text message or did you get an email? And he's like, I got it on my phone. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So, you know, what does he do instead? So then he goes to NE. His not very great third slot NE. It's pretty good, but it's not great. He thinks of all the possible ways that this could be, all the different things this could be. And he comes up with these cockamamie explanations based on his SI, what he knows, namely that the kid next door was in the Bay Area when his car had some weird thing with the Bay Area that was totally unrelated to the kid next door. But, you know, but I only knew one person in the Bay Area. He actually said that to me today. Well, you know, this happened, and I only knew one person up in the Bay Area. Well, how does that make it more likely that the kid next door who's at college at Cal Berkeley or Stanford, one of the two, is using your Mini Cooper license plate to cross the bridge? I mean, anybody could have taken a picture of that or gotten a picture of it from anywhere. Who knows? I don't know how that shit happened, but regardless, no reason to suspect the neighbor kid. That's NE third slot. And NI seventh slot would, if it were in another slot, would go, oh, David, that's stupid. That's so silly. That's such a silly notion. But, you know, with any third slot and the other first two functions are working, he's saying things like, when he went on a 10-minute walk, somebody came into the house and stole his pillowcase just to show him that they could get in and do something, even though it makes no sense at all. And the thing is, they live in a very nice neighborhood, and the neighbor kid's this Chinese nerd kid who went to Cal Berkeley or Stanford or something like that. But see, that just plays into my dad's paranoia, because my dad will go, well, he knows about computer programming. Well, but Dad, he doesn't need to do identity theft, and he doesn't, why would he do that to you anyway? Just opportunity, okay, maybe, but this kid's like, you know, got a good paying job and stuff. Let's see. Sruddy, are you joking? Why? Says Michael Thompson. It's fun to pretend to be another type. Sruddy, at Sruddy, see what I mean? I believe everything. Sarah, frowny face. Neighbors don't drive Coopers. No, the neighbors don't drive the Cooper. My dad drives the Cooper. You've got to see my PoLR in action.
Oh, Peter, if you're trying to decide between INFJ and INTJ, I think you're an INFJ for sure.
I agree with
Yeah.
Let's space it there. Is not being tech savvy connected to having bad TI? Wow, thanks, Tyler Peterson. What a good friend you are. I appreciate that. If I write a long comment, filling out a long form, write a long email, etc., and accidentally erase all of it, or the screen reloads and it's blank, in frustration, deciding to just forget writing it over again, TE PoLR. Probably if you were a TE tool user, you'd not do that probably, but it's not definitive. I disagree about SE PoLR being worse. It could be rather advantageous by some metametrics. Why INFJ? Oh, Peter Dentis. I've just engaged them enough to suspect that he's not an INTJ. Is there a cognitive function in a certain slot that is responsible for getting addicted to substances easily? Ooh, tough question.
I don't know. INTJs never feel very comfortable to me.
They never feel very what?
They're not comfortable, to me at least. INFJs are like pleasant. It's like a cool mist on your face.
INFJ is like a cool mist.
Yeah. It's like, an INFJ. How pleasant. INTJs can be cool too, but you just don't get the same feel off of them.
Yeah. INFJs, you get this sense of a roiling underbelly. A roiling unseen underbelly.
Yeah. That edgy FI bubbling underneath.
Hello and welcome to Roiling Unseen Underbelly, the show where we bring ordinary people onto the channel and then provoke them into revealing their roiling, seething, volatile underbelly.
Roiling, seething,
tempestuous, if you will.
gallivanting.
Poopy Soupy, thanks. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it. How nice of everybody. Having any in your first second slot can make you very prone to being addicted to substance. I think that's probably true, but I think having action function in one or two in general. So it's quite a few types that are prone. Any and SE in one or two. Sruddy Chandra wants to know if there's any chance she's an INTP. I don't know. You could pay me $100 to find out for sure. So far you've not seemed very supervisorial, but INFPs don't seem very supervisorial in the live chat, I've noticed. Maybe, says Michael Thompson. Michael Thompson's a man of few words. 75, maybe 75. Well,
it's
wait around for a sale. I'm gonna have one pretty soon.
it's pretty hard to tell between an INTP and an INFP purely through text in a context where there's nothing. What's the word I'm looking for?
Concrete.
No, no dividing issue, basically. Like, it's easy to identify an INFP when you're talking about politics or something.
Poopy Snoopy making it an even 5. Nice work. Plus, I really appreciate your dog with the rosy cheeks there.
Yes, thank you so much.
Sarah Kielionian says, "Oh my duel. How about I just decide I'm an ENTJ? Oh my duel. Probably not Shreddy, based on how much ill you speak of TI. I don't know if she speaks a lot of ill of TI. Well, maybe she does. I can't really remember. Man, do I hate that shit, especially if I already spent 15 minutes writing it.
What bad thing did you possibly say about TI?
Data loss is, in fact, unfortunate, to say the least. It's a source of great suffering, a source of great sorrow, a source of great everything that reminds me of tomorrow. Like, I spent, like, I don't know, over 12 hours at least on this song that I was making. What happens? Burr, 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 burr. The laptop breaks.
I call it slabs.
I call it slabs too.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says that INFJs are the masters of managing perceptions, but why do they care about perceptions? What will they do with it? Listen, Sreddy Chandran, when you got FE high up in the mix, you just understand that perceptions matter a lot.
Yes.
Yes. So
They do.
they do. So, you know, it's like Kimberly, when she's managing perceptions, she's not just doing it sort of in a detached, casual way. She'll get upset if perceptions aren't managed correctly. Similarly, when I'm talking about TI reasoning for things, I am not talking about it just sort of, I do care, you know, it's like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. Go ahead, Kimberly.
And you can get a lot of shit done when you have good FE. Don't. Yeah. So, Spacey.
What?
Why don't you tell them about how, what was it, 4 days ago or so, my FE got some shit done. You have a story. When you called the bank.
Well, that was more than 4 days ago.
Well, whatever, Spacey,
But I
it doesn't
can-
matter. Explain the story.
Basically, I called the bank because I needed my money moved to a new bank account, but according to some stupid rule that they had, apparently I couldn't do it. So I was like, well, those are the rules. Sorry, whatever, you know, so I hung up.
TE respecting.
Right.
That's respecting
Okay,
TE.
let him finish the story.
All right, then Kimberly was like, no, let me call.
After he hung up, I said,
Yeah.
no, let me call him. He goes, Kimberly, I don't know that there's anything that you could
Kimberly,
do.
take it.
And I said, hold on,
Kimberly.
I see my shoe.
Just hit
Hold on, I'll hit
Yeah.
you.
Kimberly.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, Spacey, I said, watch me. I said, I will get it done. And I wasn't being bitchy or anything. I just said all the right things. And Spacey, what's happened?
Yeah. No, like basically, a thinker is more like just be like, okay, these are the rules, these are the restrictions. But then FE knows that there's a way that you can interact with people that allows you to circumvent whatever apparent restrictions that there are.
Well, another example is when we bought the Mini Cooper, and two
Oh,
weeks,
yeah.
2 weeks
Just
after
why
we
it's-
got it, 2 weeks after we got it, it broke down. We had a problem. Thing is, I knew that I had signed all those papers saying I have no warranty on this, yada yada yada, because we had spent our budget on the best car we could get, and we didn't really have any money left over for warranty or anything. So, you know, I didn't think we were going to be able to get it fixed. It didn't even occur to me to call the dealership. And And then Kimberly's like, well, fuck that noise. We just bought the car. And she called them, and they were very nice about it. They, oh, you just bought the car. Of course, we'll fix it. I was like, but I signed that thing that says you don't have to.
And we ended up getting like $260 worth of services.
Yeah. True that. So that's FE. FE doesn't take TI no for an answer.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
In other words, I got some shit done.
Yeah, that's why FE is a useful tool for getting shit done.
Yes.
Other functions don't do that.
so listen, we've got somebody here who's known as your chill ISFJ. I think that might be awkward INFP.
Yeah, she's rebranded.
You're rebranded. I like that.
I like it too. It's much more suitable.
And do you think you are an ISFJ now?
She's definitely chill and not awkward.
Have you talked
So
to
it's
her
improved.
in person? In face-to-face?
Yeah, I
in the
was
room?
I was in a room with her for a bit the other day.
I talked to her too.
Yeah,
Have I ever talked to her?
No, you're
No.
not cool enough.
Oh.
Nah.
Look at this. This is cool.
She is your jewel, however. You might find that interesting.
Well, explain why she likes my media.
You know, in English, not in Bonglish.
That's good.
Bonglish.
Good and I moment there, Kim. Well said, ma'am.
Please repeat what you said.
He's getting there. He's done
No,
talking.
he's probably forgot. Thank you. All right, moving right along.
What were we talking about?
It doesn't matter. Move right along.
Okay.
Please hold all questions for after the bong ring.
Spacey is not an ESFP.
Spacey's an INTP.
I don't know if he's an INTP. I mean, yeah, he is.
I could
yeah.
be an INFP. You never know.
But ENFP, no.
Spacey's an INTP. I'm quite convinced of it.
Here, just listen to Eric. He knows what's best.
Well, hello. Look, everyone. It's Zandy.
Oh, Sandy.
How delightful. Zandy's decided to join us today. Wonderful.
Sandy.
Kimberly,
Yes.
Spacey, did you see Zandy's arrived?
Yes. And guess what? I will be back
Oh,
in
I've
5
seen it.
minutes.
Okay,
Kimberly loves Zandy.
almost all ENFPs I've seen known have a giggle to their speech. It reminds me of the song, with the wizard walks and the witchy talks, with a wiggle and a walk and a giggle and a talk. Yeah, ain't nothing in the world like a brown-eyed girl singing. It's so funny, make me spend my money, being feel real loose like a one-eyed goose to make room fire, baby. That's what I like. You know that song?
No.
It's a 50s song of some sort. Anybody know what that song is called that I was just singing?
Really, what you have to ask yourself was, were they playing that music on the radio in the 80s and the 90s?
No, it's a 50s song.
Right. So, nobody here knows what you're talking about.
I mean, I wasn't around during that time either.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is an INTP, says Michael Thompson.
Oh.
Can you
so
give an
it's-
example of NI polar in action? Well, I've got many to draw from now from dealing with my dad. He, for a period of time, was making the argument that not only was his own landline tapped, but the neighbor's landline was tapped. Now, this seems, like, makes no sense, right? How is it that an identity is going to tap the neighbor's across the street's landline? It makes no sense at all. So
Hmm.
that's that's an odd. That's like this. That's any third slot doing the job that TE can't do. He's trying to figure out a way to solve all these problems, but it's not something you can solve. It's something that you defend against. I might know the song, but I suck at knowing titles. It'll come to me. You seem to not relate to TI a lot of times, Freddie Chan wrote. This is my card in his most scoldy voice. He's also doing this.
She said, Freddie said, is it because I didn't think that TI was about truth? Maybe actual anti-Ps would see to that.
Anti-Ps don't see TI as truth.
Here's how I see it. Like, TI and FI both seem to be tools that are used to find the truth. So,
All right.
you
Did
know,
somebody say Zandy's in the house?
Yeah.
imagine if you're an
It
FI.
looks like we have a reason to celebrate.
Which one
This
is?
one's yours.
Okay, thank you. Imagine if you're an FI Dom, then it's going to be very hard for you to see TI as truth.
Where's the thing?
As a TI Dom myself,
Son,
I can see how it's not necessarily truth.
Mine says love you.
mine says me too.
But you can't really see it.
Oh, well,
Yours says we love you
Cheers.
too, Spacey.
Thank you, Zandy.
What is this?
Lovely.
well done.
Mhm. Well played. Well played.
Does
Well played.
your chill ISFJ says, does Kim ever chat in the TWFP video room, draw room? I mean,
If my best friend's there,
if you want some sort of definitive determination of whether you're an ISFJ, you can spend some time chatting with Kimberly. And then she'll after the conversation, she'll either come in, that she is not an ISFJ. Or she'll come to me and goes, I had the greatest time talking to her. She is so cool. We talked about meow.
I think TI does speak, but it's reticent to speak.
well, you know, I make very special relationships via live stream. I've become, you know, I guess a little chatty with Joey Joe Shabba Dabba Dabba Doo. Love that girl.
Yeah.
That's how it is for me, though. I don't know, because like Eric's like shitting out TI all over the place, but I don't really do that. So it, you know, kind of depends on where it is in your stack, I guess.
Am I really shitting out that much TI?
I assume that's what most of your verbiage would qualify as, right?
Not these days. There have been periods when I think I've done, well, I mean, you could say
Can you get Enginger a cup of coffee here?
that basically what I'm doing right now is TI.
Right.
It's being a TI saying, first, no, that's not
Yeah.
consistent. Well, maybe it is consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
That's TI.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't say that
I do it all in my head, though,
You
but
just do it in
because
your
I'm
head.
an introvert. That's the thing.
Right. That makes you more mysterious.
Like when I do the externalization, it's much more prospecting.
It's more purposeful.
I suppose so, yeah.
Whereas me, it's just me being me.
Well,
You
no,
being
yours
you is
has
in
a
your head.
purpose. No, I think it has a purpose for you as well because you need feedback, which is why you force yourself to externalize it, sort of.
I don't force myself
Well,
to
you don't have to force it, but you know what I mean.
Like what happened?
They're interdependent things, right? Because you externalize, you know, you need feedback, and because you need feedback, you externalize.
I was really getting fussy. I mean, it's a physical thing. Even. So I was getting fussy earlier on the porch because I needed to live stream, and I didn't have a computer, and I was feeling like stomping my foot. You know, like I need to live stream, and the thing is,
It was actually that you needed to eat, but whatever.
no, this was,
Another stomp footing.
yeah. I mean,
You
It's what
do a lot of foot stomping.
you weren't even there. I was
It
just sort
doesn't
of
matter. You do a lot of foot stomping.
A lot of tantrum throwing.
Yes.
those aren't tantrums, guys.
Oh,
Okay, adult tantrum.
Those are
forgive me. As tantrum can get.
those are what we call vignettes
No, those are
of righteous indignation.
no, those are Eric tantrums.
Vignettes. They're vignettes of righteous indignation.
Steve,
What?
clarify for him again what they are.
I don't care.
Adult tantrums.
He can listen. Eric, like I said, he's very good at coming up with euphemisms for things. And he will do it all the time, and I'm just going to let him do it.
Mhm.
He knows what they really are.
They aren't tantrums, they're vignettes. Okay. I do throw some tantrums. That's true. Everyone's entitled to throw some tantrums in life. Which polar is easiest to have? I would suspect it might be SI polar. It'd be easiest to have. But the thing about it is, what you sacrifice is a grounded sense of, I mean, I guess ENTJs have it through their FI, but it's like earlier today, I got a lot of satisfaction because I had a lot of things to do today, but I actually demonstrated good SI for much of my day. So that meant it's hot right now in Los Angeles, and they're getting a double gulp of drink, and it meant when I was working on the pond in the afternoon, after I'd eaten and taken a nap, then I got out working on the pond, and I stopped a lot to squirt water on myself and drink water. Dehydrated. I didn't get like heat stroke or something like that, you know. And that's very much something I might do or have done in the past, like push too hard when it was super hot outside, not really realizing how hot it was, and then come inside and felt sick, you know. So it's important for me to have that kind of grounding in the moment that comes from SI, like in the physical sense. There's SI in a couple of different ways. It's like I'm going too hard in the hot sun and feeling very sick afterwards. And I want to avoid that. I keep more of a general sense of a frame nowadays, where it's like I have a finite amount of energy, and I need to direct it in coordination with food and drink and things, because those are important factors in my energy level as well. I want to get a lot of shit done. It just makes sense to eat enough food. Matthew Alistair says, I had a friend who got hit in the polar and he can't have children now. Oh my gosh. Look who's here, you guys. It's Jeebus. Jeebus, we have been waiting for you. Eric, you claimed that people are not insecure about the inferior function and that they're self-deprecating about it. This doesn't seem to apply to EXFJs, especially ENFJs. Well, that's probably true. I would say that ENFJs will, instead of demonstrating TI competency, will try to demonstrate TE competency. What, you want this cup?
It's not a cup.
It's
It's a very beautiful glass from Zandy. Now you can show them what they say on it.
Yeah, I went to go to the store and everything too.
These are anthropology, beautiful champagne glasses. Thank you, Zandy.
Spacey's not squatting.
He's sitting on a luxurious couch.
Yeah, mostly he's sitting. I think he's done very little squatting. Mostly sitting, some standing, some walking. Almost no squat.
Turn on the barbecue for me.
Okay.
You're gonna need the torch. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's the torch. Hey, hey, hey. Philosophical thinker says, oh, hello, Jeebus. Like that. Does Spacey know red? You mean Officer Red? Yeah. They're friends. They get along fine. DJ, I missed you too, Jeebus. We were mutually missing each other. I was like, I gotta live stream so I can see Jeebus, because otherwise I won't be able to say Jeebus. Okay, philosophical thinker says me, exclamation point. Here's the thing about SI PoLR. I mean, it's odd because what are you doing it all for if not to construct some narrative of self? What's the purpose of anything if it doesn't link back to a particular self? If you're just another copy of an archetype. It's with a heavy heart that I have to inform the group the Zandy Jeebus wedding is off. Oh, so what happened? You fell in love with a porpoise? Some ENFJs claim the bad TE that makes it says that they won't spell their logic for you. Since TI is more of an internal project, then what connection does TI have to spelling logic? Well, I mean, the TE is relevant if you're trying to instruct or inform. Like, if you have to generate different ways of engaging somebody such that they internalize and acquire knowledge, then you have to be concerned about effectiveness foremost, not about display. FE is about display. Now people would say, well, is everybody happy? Are all parents happy? The kids happy? Great, they did a good job, the teacher. That's an FE calculus. A TE calculus says, well, what did they know when they came in, and what do they know now that they didn't know before, and what skills they developed and why, stuff like that. So in that regard, having PoLR TE, which ENFJs do not, but having PoLR TE means that like an INFJ teacher, INFJs can be very good teachers. They're going to use some combination of TI and FE to get around that. I have no idea where our board is. But the same can be said of FI PoLR, says Tyler Peterson. What could be that it disconnects? Well, the thing about that, Tyler Peterson, I would say is it's important to have something physical. You know, like the reason I find ENFJs kind of tragic is because their only physicality is third slot SE. So doing shit in the physical world, that's their way to get to be physical. That's their link to concreteness. But they don't have either FI or SI on the front side. And if you have neither of those are the particularist functions. So being an EHP means I'm coming into my SI late. I'm getting better at it. I'm with my dual finally, and I can see how much it improves. I was thinking today about how trippy it is, the things I've learned from her that I should have learned a long fucking time ago. Like, it's important to eat food or your energy level will go down. I mean, I remember learning this from experience when I was a teenager and I rode my bike. I was trying to ride my bike all the way up to Chancery Flats, which is quite a bike ride. And I didn't eat before I left. And I could only make it like halfway up, and I just had to go. I was dead. Done. So, I remember thinking at the time, maybe it has something to do with the fact that I didn't eat. But it wasn't until today that I reached real resolution on the matter. I realized, of course it was because you didn't eat anything. You know, it had nothing to do with you being weak. Like, I was all mad at myself for being weak, you know? Like, I had problems. I was a little bit of a self-hating person in general. I mean, I used to really dislike myself for some reason. I was very, very hard on myself for a long time. And I don't really know exactly why. That would be F5 PoLR, I'm sure. So I think that having SI or FI on the front stack gives you a route into the particularist. Now, for an ESTP, they've got NI on the front stack, but that means they've got SI in fifth. And fifth slot's you get a pretty intimate relationship with your fifth slot function. It's behind everything you do. So they get, like, ESTPs get the importance of having a particular story of their life. And in fact, they validate others for having their own particular story of their life. And ENFJs make up stories about their life and don't get the fact that it matters whether it actually links to experience or not. And ENTJs just don't have any stories about their life. And I find that tragic because I'm such a talker, I guess, you know. And to me, having a life, the story of which is unknown to yourself, is the ultimate tragedy. You know, it seems like, what's the point of living? Yeah, you might say the same thing. That's for FI PoLR. Tyler Pearson. Someone might say the same thing about FI PoLR, but the point is, I think of FI and SI PoLR as being, I think of FI as being equivalent to SI in terms of its particularizing quality. But the thing about, so ENTJs at least have a particularizing quality with their FI fourth slot, and as a consequence, they are more human than ENFJs. Okay, so Jeeva says, I can't visualize a world where you are harder than somebody. Well, that was a lot different before I quit drinking. Every morning before I quit drinking for years, I would wake up and my mantra would be shame and anxiety, shame and anxiety. I wish I were dead. I wish I were dead. Stupid fucking worthless loser. That kind of shit. I just say it to myself in the shower every morning. Day after day. And then I'd say it all throughout the day too. When people weren't around. Sometimes I'd blurt it out loud like a Tourette's. It's nice to remind myself that there was such a time. I am far from that time now. I don't hate myself now. Occasionally I'll slip back into moments of like fuck you, Eric. But by and large, I try to tell good stories. I have some stories, but I suck at telling them unless they're written. Well, the thing about an organ that is significant is not the specific stories about your life, but rather, do you have some overarching narrative? And if you do, then to have a narrative means you need some directionality. You need some sort of sense of what attainment looks like. Or some sense of how one realizes without that sense of attainment. I don't know. I mean, it's I will watch that when I'm feeling down. Thanks, Joe ISFJ. How did I get out of it? Well, for me, quitting drinking had everything to do with it. And once I quit drinking, then all of a sudden, all this ontological energy that had been directed at drinking, and the drinking had staffed up, you know. It just had to go somewhere else. And so I went back to what I had done in my 20s, make a lot of shit. And, except when I'm distracted doing something productive, but that is rare. At Tyler, why do you don't see ENTJ in the community a lot? Also, sir, you hear about your day. Did Tyler have a bad day? Let's see. I'm ENTJ, so I struggle heavily with explaining. I worked 14-hour day today, been up for 24 and can't shut down. It sucks. Yeah, well, that's where you need to go to your FI. Just as I'm having to go to my SI. You've got to spend time feeling what's really, feeling like taking pleasure in things, basically. Like, here's a movie I know I like. It's gotta be an S, I think you already know you like it. It has to be something you like to do, probably. Be an SE thing, like play golf or something like that, you know? And you have to make yourself do that activity and actively spend the time to enjoy it, you know? Like, make your attention say, okay, I'm going to attend to, I don't know exactly what this is like, really, but I'm going to attend to my, how much I'm enjoying this right now. Like, that feeling of it, like that warm feeling or something. You know what I'm saying? You probably know what I'm saying. I don't really know what I'm saying there, but you probably do. Similarly, I'm not insecure about TE. I acknowledge that I'm not good at it. I put way more effort into TE than TE even prior to non-cardinal functions. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about SI. But it is nice to get better at it. It feels very satisfying to get better at it. It feels very satisfying to, after I worked and took a bath, I used this massager thing on my elbow because it was pretty sore. It feels good to spend the time to attend to my physical animal self a little bit, you know? Make sure I stretch, shit like that. It's satisfying in a way that it's just like, it's a sense of, wow, I'm really being responsible. You know, I don't know how else to put it. It feels good. Yeah, maybe so. I'm not sure of it. Is the universe space infinite? If not infinite, is there some type of wall? But what's beyond the wall? Spacey, do you know the answer to this question? Is the universe space infinite? If it's not infinite, then there's some type of wall. Well, what's beyond the wall?
Oh, so we're assuming that the universe ends somewhere and there's a boundary, right? And what's beyond the boundary?
What's on the other side of the wall?
Well,
big dog.
The wall is just a vague terminology, I'm assuming, but it
wouldn't
necessarily be a wall. There wouldn't be anything there because the universe is everything. So whatever contains the universe, there's nothing outside of it, you know?
I mean, we're never going to get
to... It could just be pure vacuum of space outside of it, I guess.
We're never going to get to the edge of it. Like, it's too big. So I don't know how to answer that question. That all that must be where heaven is. On the other side of the wall. They're actually gates, pearly gates. What about the multiverse? Look, I was reading this article about quantum Darwinism the other day, and it seems to really validate the notion of platonic forms, because basically what it says is, so why is it when I look at this thing this time, it looks like this, and when I look at it again tomorrow, it still looks like this? If there's any uncertainty about its identity, about its location or its movement or what it's doing or whatever, then why does it never surprise me? Why is it never sometimes red instead of brown? Well, one reason is because media such as air and water and space, light, I guess you'd say, they carry certain kinds of information. So photons, when they bounce off of shit, they carry information. Now, even one of those photons might carry some given piece of information. But there's something about coherence that causes them to reflect the choices of their neighbors. So what happens is very quickly, the photons that, the higher probability outcome becomes the outcome of everything, because it all takes on this sort of survival of the fittest thing. Those photons can't survive amidst the wrong color. This wrong color photon can't survive amongst the right color photons because because it gets information from them. And, or you could say, which is what I thought when I read it, is more properly, should be said, there's always an observer in the mix. So it's the observer who's concretizing the identity of the thing. So the thing about that is, while we do have conditionality, that doesn't mean that conditional realities, choices we don't make, are somehow made anyway, and an alternate reality or something is spun off of them. They're conditional, but that doesn't mean that all conditional possibilities will manifest. In fact, conditionality has a similar quality to quantum Darwinism in that it's got to collapse down to one of the possibilities. If we go to meow, then we'll go to meow. If we go to meow, then we'll go to meow. So once elements of the conditional world are filled in, the rest of it collapses, right? It's like, if A, then B. If B, then, if A, then B. If C, then D. Not A and C. All right? Now, a new piece of information comes in and collapses the whole thing. A. Okay, well, therefore B and not D and not C. So it's done now. It's like the piece of information we needed arrived, and the conditionality collapsed to a single state. We went from superposition to realized, concretized reality. So in that regard, you can see why quantum uncertainty doesn't happen at the macro level. It's because quantum uncertainty is like conditionality, and once the decision is made and an action is executed, then that conditionality becomes causal. Similarly, at the micro level is quantum, at the macro level is classical. So that explains that. Spacey doesn't think it explains it, but it does.
I don't think I would.
I just explained the thing. You weren't even listening.
Well, no, I wasn't listening, but then you said my name, you asshole.
That's how I get you. It's one of my tricks. The universe is infinite so far as it's relevant to assume so, or it's irrelevant to try to impose a limit on it at this time. All right, well, if it is irrelevant, I'm going to impose a limit. It's no bigger than any other universe as far as we know. It could be smaller. Could be much smaller, but it's not any bigger. There. Arbitrary limit. 10 times universe times 10 times multiverse is quandental times multiverse. When you have a quandental verse, that means you've got quandental multiverses. Quandental is a number that's 1 followed by quadrillion zeros plus 4. The universe is so big it doesn't exist. It's a good point. You got a point there. The universe plus one eye. It's out there. What's that? Is that a one? What is that little thing? That looks like a golf flag. Or an up arrow? Is that an up arrow? Oh, it's an up arrow, I think. How do you make an up arrow? Nobody knows. Imaginary numbers. I've got an imaginary number for you. The Ghost of Christmas Past. When you try to multiply shit by the Ghost of Christmas Past, you really run afoul of some quandaries of mathematics. Imaginary numbers, yeah. Imaginary fun. Whoa. Square root of 2, yeah. And square root of 1, yeah. Root of 0, yeah. And also some other things, yeah. Imaginary numbers, yeah. That was imaginary numbers. There's a cat. He's got eyes closed. He's got a mouth. He's doing something. I don't know what.
It's thinking philosophically.
It's thinking philosophically. Okay. Cool. You like the imaginary numbers, son? Good. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I got some very nice comments on my Porch Songs video today, and I really enjoyed those. You like the part where it says, yeah. I do too. Yeah, it took me a long time to come up with that. I tried all the permutations of no and yeah before settling. Yeah. I tried no, yeah, no, yeah. I settled on yeah.
Did you try no baby?
No, then you're mixing in too many variables because I thought the other yeahs or no's. So it's gonna be yeah, baby, yeah.
How about yeah, no baby?
Yeah, no, baby, yeah, would be okay, potentially. Okay, so let's see what else is going on. What are you saying? Is all possibilities exist? That's why we have meat and fish. I'm so glad I scrolled up. I don't know how I possibly missed that comment. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us, Michael Thompson. I appreciate that. Wasn't string theory debunked? No, it just hasn't been confirmed by anything. Okay, Angantier? It hasn't been fully debunked. It just hasn't. None of the tests that maybe would have confirmed it have actually, done the thing. But look, I got my own string theory working in a classical world about the role of string in tying things. So just wait until I come up with my paper. It's going to be pretty cool. It's about the uncertainty of strings' tie abilities and whether or not they're going to come untied. Commies aren't cool. No, they aren't. They're dumb. The universe is infinite. I read that one already. Now we're stuck with a cat. I'm still waiting for more live chat. I got nothing else to think. Oh, wait. Now more stuff came. Maybe I should change my name to Philosophical Cat. How about no, yes. That would work too. Yeah, no, baby. Sounds like a rape fantasy. Good point, Matthew. Luke Eden says, how? Oh, I see. Right. I figured that. What's better than this guy's being dudes? I don't know. I don't even know what that means. I would argue that you probably use FI a lot more than you realize, Power Red Bull, and maybe you don't recognize it's FI that you're using, Power Red Bull. I want you to reach underneath your undercarriage, Power Red Bull, and check for dampness. Check for seepage, check for drainage, check for any source of wetness. Goodbye, everyone. It was lovely chatting with you. Goodbye, Strategy. Goodbye. Toodles.
You probably use FI a lot more than you realize, but maybe you don't recognize it as FI that you're using.
Maybe. That could be true for me too. I'm using it right now. I think I got the feels going on. I'm feeling emotions. Hey, can you tell I'm feeling emotions? Ooh. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling melancholy. I'm feeling malaised. How does one come to the conclusion that an eye sucks? Have it on the backstack. Feeling emotions. What's that like? Well, it's when you want to stomp your foot, you're feeling stubborn, you're not cooperative, when fairness and rightness and truth don't matter at all. You know, that's when it's up. It's like, you know, and I'm sure it's lots of other things. I will be very gentle with your FI and get to it. It is fun, FI, I guess. It's confusing. It's just confusing. Who feels more emotions, INTP or ENTP? I mean, I would guess INTP. I seem to feel lots of emotions. I think I feel lots of emotions, Spacey.
Yeah, we all do, man.
Who do you think feels more emotions?
We're
INTP?
emotional beings, man. We're humans.
But who feels more emotions, INTP or ENTP?
I don't know if that's an answerable question.
How many buckets of emotions do you feel a day?
Yeah, like, let me take out my measuring spoon.
Well, I average about 6.5 buckets a day. You know, like if you were to wring me out all the moisture.
I mean, I would say ENTPs exhibit more emotions.
Yeah.
They may, in fact, feel more emotions. I would be willing to go with that, but I don't know how to compare my relative.
I wouldn't say they use them more wisely.
Moisture.
Would you say ENTPs use their emotions more wisely than INTPs?
Not necessarily.
So yeah, if you want to talk about that, FI, who has more, I mean, it does make sense to say who spends more time either aware or actively engaged in sort of subconscious FI. That would be INTP. But you know, there's lots of underlying FI that I'm not attending to willfully. It's important to remember that I heard this from Jordan Peterson today. Actually, my phone is on autoplay, and it went on to a Jordan Peterson video, and he said something about dreams. That it's. Well, he didn't say exactly this, but what I took from it was, it's very odd that we have this state of being in which it's like our agency plays out in our head without our willful engagement. So I also have thought since I watched that video that it's interesting to know that rest is a necessary part of being a willful agent. You can't express your will all of the time. That sometimes you have to still be alive and have your agency still sort of running, I guess, but you need to not be controlling it. So the driver goes to sleep, you know. The car's still running along, but it's just running along in your head, random shit, I guess. But you're not really in control. You can try to take control of lucid dreaming, but then you're sacrificing good sleep. You need to rest, you know, you need to rest your will. When you sense a disturbance of some sort within your own body, like physical touch, but instead it's non-physical, or at least indirect, that's what emotion is like. Like when you get a lump in your throat. When you get a lump in your throat is a good example of feeling the physicality of emotion. I always would get this.
Isn't that the force when you sense a disturbance?
Only if you're sensing a disturbance in the force. In this case, he's sensing a disturbance in your own body. It could be puberty. It could be oncoming puberty. Well, I also found Jordan Peterson's comments on IQ interesting and ridiculous and indicative of him being an ENTJ, which is he was talking about IQ and career type and what careers are appropriate for what individuals and their IQ levels and saying shit like, if you want to be the absolute best at your thing that you're doing, now if you want to go on to be the absolute best in your field or your what? Can you see what she's talking about? So he was talking about how, we've got these jobs are appropriate for these people, but now let's look at if you really want to be the best in your field, you're going to need to have an IQ about 160, even higher. And it's going to have to come along with some conscientiousness too. It's going to have to, Now, if you're in this range here, these jobs are appropriate for you. If you're in this range here, these jobs are appropriate. And here's the problem we have. People with IQs lower than 83, we do not have jobs for them. It's something society needs to deal with. Oh, GP. So silly. It's so silly because it ignores the particularist entirely. He sort of just glosses over it. You gotta be conscientious, someone. That's an easy one for him, right? Because he's an ENTJ. You gotta be conscientious. It's just you gotta think it's basic common sense that everybody can obviously do if you choose to, but it's easy as pie. It's my tool function and my dominant function. So, I'm humanity, with my third slide, you feel satisfaction every time I follow through on doing a plan, this singularly smart plan for me. What's Wendigo syndrome? It's just like, first of all, people do very nuanced, different kind of little things. I'm doing this. I'm being me. It doesn't even make a lot of sense to compare in that regard. Say, well, if you want to be the best in your field, if I want to be the best YouTuber, what? I got to be PewDiePie then or something, right? If everybody do it on that metric, but that would be a silly metric to use. All right, let me go back up. Do you like ENTJs generally, Eric? I don't dislike them. They're fine. I get along with fun of them. They don't really have, I'm sure they have an inner circle of actual close personal relations that they FI with, but by and large, they're not into a lot of idle chit chat, so to speak. What was his IQ? Jordan Peterson? I've heard it said he's like 160 or something. Well, Jordan Peterson sounds dumb, so. I think he says lots of interesting things, some of which I agree with, some of which I don't. Pie is amazing. I like fish pie. Kim should live stream sometime. That'd be awesome. Kim's not that extroverted. Answer all the questions. I will answer all the questions. Why are you examining some random house's plants in your previous video? Well, because I thought it was interesting about agaves and how big. I think, it's like I saw those agaves when I first came to Vernon. I thought, oh, those are cool. It'd be cool to have those big ass agaves in the front yard like that. What a great like that's the best landscaping you can possibly do for a little house like that. It's like a big ass garbage. But now they're gonna die. So, you know, that kind of ruins their landscaping, I guess. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting, so we'll get into that.
Suddenly, I'm making dinner.
Yes, sort of. Meat pies are sold at most dairies in New Zealand, and that's how you get INTPs to do things. You don't talk about doing things. You like go here, meat's on this. Now you cook it. Yeah, sort of. Meat pies are sold at most dairies in New Zealand, Langentyre. Your chill ISFJ. Yeah, but wouldn't the people in the house find it strange? Never even occurred to me. I don't think they were home. I don't know. I don't care. They'd come out over to talk to them. I can take pictures of their plants if I wanted. They don't like it. They can go. You know, make intercourse at themselves. There are 3.14 calories in a piece of pie. That's a good math joke. Zandy's as a Zandy's dandy. Yes, she is. Zandy. I call my sugar Zandy. Because I'm sweet on Zandy. And Zandy's sweet on me. Shooby-doo-wah. She understands me. My understanding's Angie. That's why sweet on Zandy. And Zandy's sweet on me. The actual song has the word candy than Zandy. Makes more sense with candy. Thanks, Andy. Ask Spacey what would win in a fight, a brown bear or a silverback gorilla. Hey, Spacey, what would win in a fight, a brown bear or a silverback gorilla?
Probably the gorilla.
Spacey says the gorilla. Lou Reed would be impressed. Spacey understands ennui. Is Spacey on Discord, MBTI, Enneagram rooms? Is the guy named Spacey, but maybe it's a different Spacey, I guess. Spacey's on, I know he's in the Raw Room a lot. It's either the FP Raw Room. Which, if you don't know where that is, I'll put a link here. Beer Garden / TWFP1 or 2. Do you believe in Oz? Sure. You just gotta follow the old brick road. And then you get to Emerald City. And surprisingly, not very interesting. Everything's green. Big whoop. You know, just because everything's made out of emeralds doesn't mean it makes it better. It's like, you know, I tried to use a blowtorch and Emerald City was made out of emeralds. Shit cracked like after 3 uses. But I guess, you know, you got a rule. Everything has to be made out of emerald. But have you looked into the function, or have you just taken the test and read the results? If that's all, and it's 4 mark, it might not actually be. I think I might have actually skipped a comment by Mepps that was earlier that I didn't read. Let's see what that was. Maybe I did read it, maybe I didn't. Mepps. Where's Mepps? I don't know. I'll never find it. Oh well. Failure forever. That's just my doing. I am doomed to fail forever and ever and ever. Okay. Probably not, actually. I think at least I can succeed a little bit, maybe. What is that? Yeah. This is causing me problems. Ah, there it is. Okay. Let's see. Flying monkeys are definitely real. Do you think INFP male and INTJ female relationship would turn out good if they have activities in common? Well, let's see. NI Dom with an FI Dom. No inherent problem there necessarily. Then you got any tool with TE tool. That should work out reasonably well because they validate on any INTJ, so they appreciate any. And INFPs appreciate TE.
Eric, I dropped one on the ground like an idiot.
Just throw it away. It's fine.
Like an idiot.
You're not an idiot.
It ruined everything.
Accidents happen. Accidents happen. It's okay. What do you think about antinatalism? The idea you didn't have kids because you don't know how much they'll end up suffering, so you shouldn't take the chance in the first place. I don't believe that at all because, you know, the vast majority of suffering is caused by inadequately loving parents. If you know you're going to love the shit out of your kid, you don't need to worry about it. You believe in the power of friendship, or is it a Japanese fantasy? To do what? To light my city? No. I don't believe that friendship has the power to light the city. We need electricity. Winston points out interestingly that the word emerald is derived from Vulgar Latin, a variant of Latin smaragdus, which originated in ancient Greek, green gem. I went
On top of those.
to school.
I laid them out so you could lay them on top of those. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, chicken takes a while. Remember, chicken takes a while.
What takes a while?
Chicken.
Bell VM Universum Carnum says, I went to school in Texas. Nobody there was about 5 feet 8 tall. Does maps exist? Maps. With the power of friendship, I transform. I want this to be for Power Rangers. The power of friendship transforms. What does it transform you into? A better person? Maybe. I've read the results. How would I figure out I'm something else? Without reading deeply in every single type. I don't know. Hire someone to type you. You're chill ISFJ. Do your plants grow amazingly well? I'm plantless, says your chill ISFJ. Is it lucky? Are incels SE polar and therefore hateful and jealous of SE don't and hateful and they want to bang them? Want to bang them? No. I don't think most incels are necessarily I mean, being an incel means having much more of an opinion about it than an SE polar person would really have. INFPs will be successful probably in many when they want to be. Poor Spacey says Poopy Snoopy because he has to cook. He'll be fine.
Poor Spacey.
What connection with personality types have evolution? Do certain types become progressively less common once they are required for society? Man, I don't believe in evolution, so you know. I think that it seems that there are not increasing numbers of intuitives, even though, in theory, being intuitive would correlate with, advancement into, handling a more of a communication-based economy. Sarah Keolionian, if you're an ISTP, then you should be with an ENFJ. That should be your type that you get with. If you're an ISFP, you should be with an ENTJ. Spatial spacey is not your fault. You're not a flatline. I feel the SE polar could be a problem for INTJ. INTJ doesn't have SE polar. Unless you're doing socionics letters. If you're doing socionics letters, then fine. What is the novelty function? Like things you may find cute or humorous. Well, in general, novelty is associated with extroverted intuition. And the value associated with extroverted intuition is novelty, such that if you have the dominant function, you need things to be novel in order to keep your interest full. You need a lot of newness. Kimberly say chicken in a whisper, or red may hear. Oh yeah, they're in bed in the coop. I think we're safe. ISFJ cats. I have ferrets who are also carnivores. Sanity. Good luck with that. Let me know what you figure out. Ferrets are intense. I will probably never figure out the sanity thing. How often do you feed red donuts? I might have a donut, I guess. I probably, if I saw her, she would hear me, I'd give her a piece of it. And because he dropped something, lol, I was joking. Oh, I disapprove of bullying incels.
Oh yeah, of course we see.
I kind of disapprove of bullying incels too. I mean, there's no reason to bully them because, they're already not getting laid. However, hello everyone, I am currently in the dark watching the Mueller report video over and over again while laughing while eating KFC. God bless you all and God bless America. Well, thanks, Tom. Has Kimberly ever seen the movie On a Clear Day with Barbara Streisand?
No, but I tend to like her movies.
Evolution isn't a product of reason. Okay. I feel like pizza. You should get some. Why are some types more common than others? I don't know. Freddie Chandler. I don't know. I have no idea. What makes Kim happiest? What does make Kim happiest?
Oh, I want you to answer that.
Oh, you want me to answer that? She likes it when there are social events that go well.
Is that when I'm the happiest though?
I don't know. Your mood seems kind of all over the place. I don't know. What is the point of getting typed? Why does it matter enough to pay $100 to hear what your type is? I'm not criticizing. I'm just trying to understand what value your type has. Well, I think it has a lot of value, but I would say knowing your type and knowing something about cognitive functions has a lot of value. The thing is this: we are all going about the world and processing data, right? So there are tools, lexicographical tools, word-based tools or sets of language that we can use to process data more powerfully than we do without those set of tools. So cognitive functions is a set of tools that can become somewhat encompassing in your interactions with people. I understand why my dad is reacting in certain ways now, in a way that I didn't understand before, because, well, I didn't use cognitive functions to predict this outcome. Well, actually, I kind of did in the car. I was thinking about this is going to be a problem, getting him back from the wartime period. Getting to realize, okay, we're at peace. We don't need to freak out about every little thing. But the point is, it's allowed me to recognize that this event with his attempted identity theft, unsuccessful, that it hit him right in the core. And so it makes me want to explain that to him as a way of saying, look, don't feel bad about this. This is, everybody has this one, I haven't got a chance to really talk to him about it yet, but I want to sit him down and try to explain cognitive functions. And it really does sort of make you, it makes things okay. Like when I realized today that, oh, you know what, back when I was a teenager, it was because I didn't eat any food, for sure. I can really tell that now. And it sort of reworks my history a little bit. It's interesting to me. It may or may not be interesting to you. I don't know. But the thing is, it's either a tool that you have and can use, or it's a tool you don't have and can't use. How much thinking you do going about the world is going to depend a lot on your type, and etc. Winston's mom, let's see. I wonder if that may be nurture. I don't think it is. I think it's pre-birth. I meant the INFP's SE4 being a problem for an INTJ. That might be true. INTJ sees SE, and they're not going to get any from INFPs. They were coming back to listening to Hostard songs and wisdom on the front porch. So Kimberly, that movie reminds me of her a bit. They're the karmic lifetimes of the story. Huh. You should watch that movie. Do I have a counter theory to evolution? Good question. That food is smelling so good. Not really. I'm negating it. I'm not affirming an alternative. I'm suddenly just like lightheaded and just kind of pass out and eat so badly. This comes up on me all of a sudden quick. Winston's mom says most Hostard offers information on cognitive functions. That's a huge value of learning to understand cognitive function display. If I tell you, John, at the moment I'm feeling I'm gonna take in something.
Huh?
I think I'm gonna otherwise I'm not feeling well. So thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you, especially Tara Peterson and Poopy Doopy for your super chats. I appreciate it. I feel better after I eat.